Wait a second, surely training for the marathon is what's going to make me run a faster marathon, Philly? Why are we training for an event less than 25% in distance? That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Running a faster 10K is only going to help your marathon performance if done in the right way. It's no coincidence that many of the world's best marathon runners are also no slouch over the 10K distance. Joshua Cheptegei is the current men's world record holder, and he ran a 2:08:59 marathon debut. Haile Gebrselassie was double Olympic champion over the 10K, and we all saw what Sifan Hassan was able to do from the 5K all the way up to the marathon this year. And whilst not every world-class 10K runner will even venture up to the marathon, one of the key reasons for this crossover is that the training that's specific to the 10K is actually pretty helpful in improving your marathon time too. Are the systems similar? Yes. The same? No. The training for a pure marathon focused block versus putting all your eggs in the 10K basket will look slightly different, but I actually think that training to run a faster 10K will move your next marathon forward, and in this video I'm going to break down the reasons why and how you can implement this into your training to see the results. Before I get into the nitty gritty of the science and you rip up your current training plan to commit to 10K focused intervals, I thought what better way to kick this off than by showing you how I'm doing this myself. In September, I took 3.5 minutes off my marathon time to run at 2:25:47, and almost 2 months on, I'm getting ready to race a 10K in 3 weeks' time. My long-term training focus remains invested in that marathon and getting me to the LA Olympics in 28, and I think this small local 10K that I'm gonna rip my legs around will help me get closer to reaching that goal. All right, so we're at the track. I've got a session today that is, I'd say it's 10K based, it's half marathon based. I've also done this session in a marathon block, so it's one of those that you can use for either, really, and tapping into a bit of threshold, some nice controlled running, but then also getting a little bit spicy at the end and getting the legs turning, but not to the extent that it's not feeling controlled. That's a key instruction that I've had from coach. I can't be tying up hands on knees at the end. So I'm a month out from Telford 10K. It'll be 3 weeks by the time this video comes out, and today I am doing 20 to 24 times 400 meters off 50 to 60 seconds recovery. So the aim is to start out and to take that 50 seconds recovery, and I'm going to be running at roughly threshold for 400 meters, which is sort of 80 to 82 seconds. And then as I get into the session, I'm going to slowly build on that, and the last 5 to 6 reps I can kind of open my legs up and get a little bit of speed in there, which is going to be fun. I love this session. I'm excited. Yeah, done. We can go now.
Okay, let's get home.
I've done my jog. You know what I don't think I needed?
What?
These sunglasses.
You sure?
They've been just catching. That's the kind of rain we're dealing with.
Right.
It's like a really, really tiny mist. The type that just gets you soaked. It's beautiful, actually. Yeah. One thing I did need though that made my warm-up much more enjoyable, and I'm going to keep them on actually for the drills because it's bringing the vibes, and that's the headphones. I got the new Shox Open Run Pro 2s on today, and they're also the sponsor of today's video, which is pretty cool because I've been wearing Shox headphones for years now, and I love them to bits, to be honest, especially when I'm out on a run. If I'm in a new place or I'm on my own, it's nice to be able to hear my surroundings, but also not just be listening to the sound of my laboured breathing and my feet hitting the ground. I can put a podcast on, I can put my music on, and I forget I've got them on half the time because they just sit nice and cushy on the top of your ears. And lucky for you guys, Shox have got a huge Black Friday sale on at the moment with up to 32% off. There's a link at the top of the description which you can use to get £10 off a pair of headphones, or you can use my code, which is PHILYBOWDEN. You can get your hands on the pair that I'm using here, which is the Open Run Pro 2, or if you're interested in the Open Swim Pro, which obviously you can use when you're swimming, they've got really good audio as well, and you can store songs on those headphones themselves. And they're already 20% off, and you can still use my £10 off code on them as well. Simply click the link at the top of the description of this video, or use the code PHILYBOWDEN at checkout. Big thanks to Shox for sponsoring today's video, and for making my warm-up much more enjoyable. Today's game of Russian roulette at Sports City. Got a guy running the wrong way around in lane 1. We love it.
Let's go, baby. Let's get it.
.9. That's all right.
Let's go, horsey.
Feeling good.
You'll get it.
Carbs. Shall we see how well Philly followed the assignment? Instructions were, start off at 80 to 82s, kind of get comfortable there and then gradually ease down, and then just find the rhythm, and the last 5 or 6 I could press on. 82.9, 81.1, 80.7, 81.3, 80.3, 78.6, 79.9, 76.6. Had a bit of company for that one, got a little bit excited. 80.4, 78.7, 78.1, 78.7, 77.1, 77.6, 77.7, 74.3. Had company again, got excited. 75.9, 75.2, 74.3, 73 dead, 73.4, 72.2, 71 dead, 69.7. Apart from the 2 that I got a little bit excited and had to overtake some people on and kind of just hit the gas a bit too much. Good, I think. I think I'd have liked to see those last 6 a little bit quicker. I had to dig a little bit deeper than I maybe would have liked to get that 69 at the end. And I would have liked to see it kind of be 73 to 68, gradually down. But I think it was just a bit slippy, so it's fine. The effort was there. Good solid session banked. 7 Melios in the legs. Back to whatever the other Philly's talking about. Thanks, Philly. So what's the science here with training for a 10K in order to get a better marathon performance later down the line? Workouts that train the body for the 10K and the 5K too focus a lot on VO2 max specific work and threshold workouts. Now, a whistle-stop tour on some important things to note before I dive into those. When you run, you create lactate that naturally enters your bloodstream as your body works to break down glucose into energy. As you run faster, that lactate production increases, and at a certain point, as the intensity increases, the energy demands can't be met anymore. That lactate accumulates in your blood at a rate that is faster than it can be used as an energy source or cleared by the body, so you end up not being able to sustain that pace for very long. This is why we train at high intensities, so that our bodies can adapt and perform for longer at higher intensities. So your lactate threshold, which you may have heard used a lot in reference to threshold training, is the pace or heart rate at which lactate in your blood reaches roughly 4 millimole per liter. That's the magic number, also referred to as the turn point, where beyond this point, your body isn't clearing lactate fast enough and it's just accumulating. So training your body in this zone, or often just a touch slower, so that you can clear that lactate, allows you to become more efficient. And effectively over time, you'll see that your lactate threshold will become a faster pace. Threshold training. VO2 max training is essentially training your body to be better at using oxygen whilst running, so that you can run faster before hitting fatigue. Your definitive VO2 max is going to be significantly faster than your lactate turn point. This type of training involves running at higher intensities for intervals of a much more generous recovery than a threshold specific workout. And though very popular for 5K and 10K, VO2 max workouts are, in my view, pretty handy for us marathon runners too. It's useful for both. To distinguish the two, a VO2 max workout could be 5 by a kilometer at, let's say, 3 minutes for argument's sake. This is a pretty speedy individual. And they also get 3 minutes recovery. So those reps are being run at beyond this person's lactate threshold turn point and pretty close to their 10k race pace in this scenario. A threshold workout for the same person might be 6 times 5 minutes of 60 seconds, where they're running slower than their lactate threshold, intentionally staying in that zone where the body is clearing the lactate that they're accumulating and using it as fuel and becoming more efficient at running in that zone. So the first reason training for a 10k is going to help your marathon is that by working on your VO2 max and your lactate threshold, you're hopefully going to get faster at these shorter distances. And you're also going to become more efficient, which means you should be able to run faster for longer distances, i.e. the marathon. This is a view held by many respected distance coaches, and it's also why you often see very talented, successful 5k and 10k runners making a fantastic marathon career for themselves later down the line. And you can imagine here, if you like, that on average, someone who is 5 minutes faster than you over the marathon is likely to also be a minute or so faster than you over 10k. Not always. If someone classifies themselves as a marathon to ultramarathon runner versus someone who is a 10k to marathon runner, it might look a little bit different, but on the whole, this is the trend we're going to see. And the good news is, there's lots that's already similar about 10k and marathon training, meaning you don't have to completely turn your week upside down to do this. Regardless of whether you're running high volume, 7 days a week, or maybe just getting out 3 or 4 times, your base training is gonna look pretty similar, besides the long run. That's obviously longer for marathon training, and it might be broken down into different paces to form one of your workouts. It's the key workout days that you're gonna look to just shift a little bit. And again, there's crossover here. Some workouts that seem more 10k or maybe half marathon focused make plenty of appearances in my marathon blocks because having variation in what you're doing is really good training. But it's all on a continuum. I might have a few speedier 10k style workouts in the marathon block among plenty of threshold and marathon pace specific workouts. First is in a 10k specific block, I'll have more harder, faster VO2 max type workouts and fewer longer, steadier sessions. So to pepper this into your marathon block, just switch in some of those more VO2 type workouts like 6 to 8 by a K at 5 to 10k race pace off equal time recovery, or 15 to 20 times 2 minutes off 2 minutes, where you're running close or below your 5k race pace. And if you're a while out from your next marathon, like I am, I've got about 5 months, depending on which spring marathon I do, which is a great amount of time to dedicate a decent 6 to 10 week training block to training for the 10k. After which, you've got a really great springboard to then return to marathon training with some new tools in your wheelhouse. And all of those specific scientific adaptations aside, the other great reason I like to encourage racing a 10k to help your marathon, or a 5k if you like, something that's distinctly a different challenge, using different systems and asking you to approach things slightly differently, is it combats the mental fatigue that can come from marathon block to marathon block, back-to-back training. By alternating between a 10k block and a marathon block, you can keep things really varied, which in my opinion is much more fun because your training stimulus doesn't stagnate, and we've seen how athletes can run faster marathon times as a result, which I'm gonna guess most of you watching this video would like for yourselves.
Well, duh.
And as anyone who has run a marathon knows, that last 10k is gonna be the hardest. And there's something that instills confidence in that final 10k for me, knowing that I've raced that distance really well recently, and with better speed in your locker, you're gonna be better prepared to make that last 10k your fastest come your next marathon, and kick home to that negative split that we all dream of. With a full marathon block behind you, of course. The 10k PB is not a free ride. I hope you enjoyed this video and you agreed with my elevator pitch to give the 10k a try to help your next marathon. If you did, hit that like button. Please subscribe because we're trying to hit 100k by the end of the year. And in all that training, whether it's for the marathon, the 10k, or something else, make sure that you love the grind.